Unfortunately, it looks like this strike is actually going to be a long one because of a dispute over money over the internet royalties, if I'm not mistaken. And from what I understand, they are nowhere close to the meeting of the minds here. So that means even if the strike does get off, is rectified in a few months, which if it is, there's still going to be a delay in movies and TV and everything.
But it's a legitimate strike.
I agree.
It's a major issue. You're dealing with digital rights management, and it's weird because there's no precedent for this. It's really hard to figure out how do you pay people where something is distributed in such an infinite way through the internet. But I mean, but the same thing is like, you photograph something, you put it up on Flickr, and some advertising agency takes your photograph and they say, hey, we want to use your photograph in our ad campaign. And initially be flattered, be sure, but then they're making millions of dollars off of your photograph and you didn't get nothing. You'd be pretty pissed off.
Oh, of course, I agree with the writers.
So that's where the writers are coming from.
And from what I understand now, people are making like a 4% royalty on DVD sales.
Yep.
And I want to tell you guys something here because I know a little bit about business here. Have you guys noticed, like today when you see featurettes on DVDs, they're broken up into like 15-minute chapters? Mm-hmm. Have you seen that? Like before, you'd see like a 2-hour documentary. The reason they do that is to fuck the writers and talent. If it's over a certain length, they can claim it as a little mini featurette. They don't have to pay them the full royalty. So that's why the way they're getting around that is doing those little 15-minute chapters as a whole. So they're actually little features on their own. They're not a single feature.
And writers have traditionally been screwed by Hollywood.
Oh, I agree.
In the first place, I mean, it's like the Writers Guild. The Writers Guild really hasn't helped. I mean, you may have like 10 people writing a film, which is the way Hollywood likes to operate, because they can never be satisfied with one script. But only like maybe 3 of the people involved are allowed to get the credit.
Oh, I agree.
I think screenwriters are the lifeblood of Hollywood. But on the opposite end, have I told you guys how much I hate jazz musicians?
Yeah.
Can they actually hear that?
I hope they
can the microphone pick up what's going on?
Everybody, in case you can hear in the background, some sound bleeding. That is a band next
we
door. It's very loud.
Like
got a house
elevator
band
music playing in the
tonight,
background.
folks.
There's a house band playing next door, so in the other studio.
Well, so if you hear it, that's what it is. But anyway, yeah, I'm disappointed in this strike. I think it's going to be a real long time, and I think a lot of people are going to suffer in the long end, forever. I mean, really, I think a lot of people who had their projects lined up to go are going to lose them.
But come on, let's be honest. It's a strike, and it's not a blacklisting. I mean,
no, I don't mean it's a blacklisting. I mean that people have their projects ready to go.
The blacklisting is when a lot of screenwriters really suffered. A lot of directors.
A lot of writers never recovered from that.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of them had to write under aliases and then actually have other people submit their scripts under their name.
Really, the only people who are really going to suffer. Well, I mean, you're going to suffer by not having an income for a while. But I mean, the people who are going to suffer are like fans of shows. Like they just made an announcement that although they've already shot half the season of 24. They're not going to finish it until the strike is over because they don't want to show half a season and have people wait. That's right, 12. But sometimes they do a 2-hour episode, so it's not always 12, Mike, smarty pants.
And let's talk about the strike, who this is affecting. Of course, this is affecting TV shows, movies, and I even believe Broadway plays, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my God!
No.
That's a separate.
That's another strike.
No, that's just
What's another strike?
stagehands.
The other strike is stagehands.
Yeah.
It's a problem. That's all I'll say. It's a problem.
Good thing Harvey Firestein. Or actually, is that your Paul Lind? I don't know.
Paul Lind's Halloween special is out on DVD.
Yes, that's a
I want
must.
to rent that.
Yep.
And that wouldn't be made today if there was a writer's strike.
Yeah, because Bruce Valanche actually did a lot of writing on that
Exactly,
DVD.
and Bruce Valanche is a Screenwriters Guild member.
Yes.
He writes for a lot of award
So anyways,
shows,
it's
so
important.
that might
It affects
be
all of us because really, in the long term, if these precedents are set and the writers come out and get whatever they want, then it affects everything that we do on the internet.
Well, why don't we talk about some of our favorite screenwriters?
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
because I've run out of steam on this issue.
When we do that, yeah, I have to. While we do that, while we talk about some of our favorite screenwriters, we'll put up a phone number for you guys to call in if you'd like to call in and maybe comment on some of your favorite films or the strike.
Yeah. Talk to us about, I mean, if there's a particular screenwriter that you like out there, I'm looking at a camera that I shouldn't be. If there's a particular screenwriter that you like, and that we're maybe not talking about or you want to agree with us, robot camera right here, call into the number. We're live right now. Last time we had a live show, it was for Halloween, and we had scariest movies as the topic. And not one motherfucker called in.
Because I forgot
Thank
to
you.
post it on MySpace. I'm sorry, guys.
No, but still, people should just
They were all out
randomly
partying.
watch our show.
Hey, I'd be out partying and egging houses if I could.
Yeah, man.
And they're rushing to call in right now.
Speaking of the
As always.
blacklisting, one of the really fine screenwriters that luckily emerged from the blacklisting, he had to go under that alias of name that you said, but Dalton Trumbo, I thought
Dalton Trumbo was a great writer.
And he actually
Johnny,
wrote-
Get Your Gun.
He actually wrote and directed
Yeah.
that, which is a very
Johnny-
frightening film.
It's
Johnny
interesting.
Get Your Gun is fantastic. It's one of the most cynically brilliant movies I've ever seen. And Donald Sutherland is
What was
Jesus Christ.
was it Megadeth that did the music video?
Yeah,
That was
no, Metallica.
Metallica did
And
music
Justice
video.
for All.
One.
Wasn't
That
it?
was,
Oh,
that was one,
yeah.
right? That was
Yeah,
inspired
awful,
by
yeah.
that. That shows scenes from the movie.
Probably the
Timothy
best.
Bottoms.
Probably the best.
Donald Sutherland
One of the
plays
best
Jesus,
anti-war films ever made. The film concerns Timothy Bottoms, a soldier who is deaf, blind, and missing all of his limbs.
Yeah, and he
He's
can-
just a torso, and he can't communicate. The only thing that you see is his thoughts, and I think that's really
Yeah,
interesting.
the whole movie is what's going on in his head.
Yeah, and the portrayal of Jesus Christ by Donald Sutherland is so brilliant. Like when he sits there and in his head he explains to Jesus Christ, he's like, well, I can't talk, I can't see, I can't hear. I guess he can hear, I think.
No, he can
can't.
only feel.
He can
Yeah,
feel
he
like
can.
on his torso.
And he has no arms, and he explains this to Jesus, and Jesus is like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't really help you there, and then walks away. And I just thought, wow, that's kind of cynical and brilliant. But yeah, Dalton Trumbo wrote Spartacus, which is a movie I didn't care for at all, but I think that had more to do with Kirk Douglas taking over the picture away from Stanley Kubrick. But
It's still a good movie, though.
eh.
You might enjoy that film more if you didn't know that bit of information.
I'm gonna go on
No,
record.
I
I'm gonna go on
actually
record
never
and-
cared. I didn't ever care for Spartacus.
I think it's the best Roman
I
epic
think it's a
film.
horrible film, guys, because Stanley Kubrick even hates it, and that should tell you that already.
we had a seance last
What do you
night to
got
confirm
fired?
that.
No, wait. Do you think
Oh,
it's a
he
horrible
said that.
film because you think it's supposed to be horrible, or do you think it's horrible
It just-
objectively? Could you
I
say
did
it?
not like it.
I
did
didn't
not
like it.
I'm
Even-
talking about you.
even
I'm talking about him.
Okay, even before that, even before I knew about what Stanley Kubrick thought, I didn't like the film because I felt really it was one of those star vehicles that was made. It really felt like, okay, let's make a vehicle for Kirk Douglas. Fuck everybody else, and I feel he was the center.
I
when
felt
the
like
other
there was
people-
one good performance in it, and that was Peter Ustinov. That was it.
I thought, was it Laurence Olivier? It's been a long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, Laurence Olivier.
He was very good in the
played,
film.
but yeah, I just felt so detached from the film. I thought it was a piece of Hollywood fluff. I could feel nothing. I mean, the passion behind Spartacus, I couldn't see it. I thought Ben-Hur was twice as good. Yeah.
I'm going to go on record and mention my favorite of the films, which is my favorite screenwriter actually would be, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm blanking on his name. Oh God, he wrote Network. Please.
Petty
Chayefsky.
Thank you. I can't believe I forgot.
Brilliant.
Brilliant
Brilliant,
screenwriter.
brilliant,
He's written
brilliant,
two
brilliant,
of the
brilliant.
finest screenplays, I think, in the history of filmmaking, which I consider The Hospital one of the most brilliant
Hospital's
scripts
brilliant.
ever.
Yep. I mean, it's great. It's not my favorite.
Even the
It's-
opening of how they describe how this doctor goes in and they find
He did
him
Altered
dead.
States too. That was his screenplay.
Yeah,
Very
But it was
strange.
fucked
That's very
with. They-
strange,
but,
yeah.
but Ken Russell totally fucked. I like Patty Chayefsky too. I agree. He's a brilliant. He's a vanguard screenwriter. I just think he has a tendency to be didactic.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry to interrupt here. Gloria, our director, Gloria, I just realized something. Please be sure that I have the right phone number on the screen because I realize I just took these credits
Folks,
from
he
another
also
studio.
refers to God as Gloria, so I think he's taking the Lord's
Yes,
name
I'm
in
talking
vain.
to Gloria. Gloria, please be sure that number is correct. Thank you so much.
We're taking care of that.
Thank you.
We'd
Right.
also anybody that wants to call in on
The other line.
call in
Crank.
on the phone number, and we'd like your opinion. Do you like Edwin's old
Look, she
voice
switched the number.
or the new voice?
Very good. Thank you. That's our
I'm
number,
voting
people.
for
Call.
I'm voting for the new voice. I like the new voice. What do you guys think?
Makes him sound tougher.
I think it's
Yeah,
Don't
More-
fuck with me.
More, yeah. More
I think we should
Charles
all talk like
Bronson-esque.
him.
Hey,
the
he's one
rest
of my
of the show.
favorites. But no, I'll go back to Patty Chayefsky.
Well, actually, he's also my favorite screenwriter. And one of my favorite films that he wrote was actually a brilliant anti-war film, which I'm blanking on the title, but it stars James Garner.
Oh yeah,
And-
oh shit.
See?
No, it's the Americanization of Emily.
Yes, that
Okay.
I saw that.
Arthur
about-
Hiller directed it.
Yeah, well,
You know, and he's not even the greatest director. He did The Hospital. I think if the Hospital had a better director, I think The Hospital would even be better.
Probably be maybe a little more classic.
I think it's an interesting
The
film.
hospital, at times, like Eric said, it gets a little didactic. It gets a little bit over dramatic. I mean, there was a little monologue that George C. Scott does in front of Diana Rigg as he's sitting in one of the the waiting rooms, and he just starts talking about how his son's a hippie and doesn't understand. And it's like, all right, a little too preachy, but I mean, Marty is one of the finest comedies I ever saw in my life. It is so good, and it's got so much heart and so much soul, and it's probably one of the finest performances that I've ever seen. I mean, Ernest Borgnine's wonderful.
You know what's so sad is he never really achieved that apex. That was the apex of his career. He really never did anything that good again. He became mostly a B-movie actor after that. I mean, he did some good
Ernest
movies.
Borgnine?
Yeah, I think Marty was like the pinnacle.
Well, no, I think Fatso and From Here to Eternity, I thought he was pretty good.
I mean,
Yeah, but
it
he
was
did
a
other
little
stuff
one-dimensional.
like, he did like a lot of epic movies in the 50s and 60s.
but I mean, not as a leading man type.
No, well,
he
you
was
was
Well, with
really a
that face,
leading
man,
type, though.
you can't be a leading man with that face.
Well, that Lee Marvin movie he did where he was the
Oh yeah.
Motorman.
Yeah, the Motorman. That was
Oh, wonderful. Empire of the North.
Empire
Yes.
North, yeah.
Which is one of the best unknown films of Robert Aldrich's career. Amazing. Go check that out on an unrelated topic.
I just want to put a shout out. One of my favorite screenwriters, and we mentioned him in another show. I love Billy Wilder. I think this is a guy for whom English was not a second language. I mean, to this day, he still speaks with a German.
Well,
very
was
strong
his
German
second
accent.
language, actually.
I mean, yeah, that,
Genius.
right. And yet, this is a guy who wrote a brilliant film noir called Double Indemnity, or adapted it, and did a wonderful job with the dialogue. And he wrote one of my favorite comedies of all time is a movie called 1, 2, 3 with James Cagney, and it's all verbal dialogue, and it's amazing. It's just amazing, and you know, I'm a huge Billy Wilder fan. But you know, have we seen too many Billy Wilder films? Am I the only like?
I've seen
No,
I've seen
the
Billy
only thing
Wilder.
the only thing that tarnishes Billy Wilder's name in my mind, or sullies his good name, as I would like to say, is Cameron Crowe calls him like his biggest mentor.
Right.
He interviewed him
And
for a book, correct?
influence, and
Yes.
interviewed him for a book and everything.
Conversation
And
with
I
Wilder.
find that except for a couple films, Cameron Crowe's an awful filmmaker. He is just some of his movies are
Well, he
just
hasn't made too many of them.
his films lately have been awful. After Singles, they are shit.
Singles is okay, but
I like Singles.
I
I
Think
like
Stay
it.
Anything and Fast Times, which he wrote, are terrific screenplays.
Yeah, Amy Heckerling directed that one, but
I'm not a
Yeah,
huge
I can see
Cameron
that.
Crowe fan myself, but I don't.
I
don't
like Cameron Crowe.
think that should sully
come on,
your
Jerry
opinion of
Maguire.
Billy Wilder.
It didn't bother me.
Show Me the Money.
The thing that Billy Wilder,
That
can I
phrase does
just?
not bother me.
The thing is, like what I love about Willy Wilder is that he knows how to construct a story, which a lot of screenwriters today don't seem to know how to do. Like, say what you will about something that might seem dated now, like Some Like It Hot. But if you think about the concept and how it's constructed from the beginning, middle, and end, it's absolutely flawless.
7-Year Itch. Was that Billy Wilder?
He directed it, but he didn't. That was a play.
I'll tell you my favorite
Sunset
Billy Wilder
Boulevard?
film.
Yeah, Sunset Boulevard.
I'll tell you
Brilliant.
my favorite Billy Wilder film. I think he wrote this. Please forgive me if he didn't. You could probably clarify this, but I will say it has one of my favorite performances in movie history. The Lost Weekend with Ray Milland.
Yeah, he did write it, and he did direct it.
Brilliant,
Yeah,
brilliant
that's a
film on
great
alcoholism
movie.
and addiction.
Ray Milland's
And
fantastic.
it's just a really haunting portrayal. And to give Ray Milland credit, he had never had a drink in his life, he said, before he took that role. But yet, I completely believed he was an alcoholic. It was the first time really a film really dealt with addiction that way. Because Hollywood really didn't go with addiction too much.
It was, well, what helped it, though, was that it was based on a really successful novel at the time. So people were jonesing to see the movie.
Anybody want to talk about
novel.
screenwriters out there? You can give us a call.
Yeah, please call.
Anybody out there?
Screenwriters.
Did everyone start their, like, Thanksgiving?
Come on, you gutless punks.
See what's happening. We got so many calls, we got to bring them off the
I would like to bring up my favorite. I don't know
let's
if
get
he's
to
my
Jeff. Let's
favorite
get to Jeff.
screenwriter. Oh,
Let's
I'm
get to
sorry.
Jeff.
Well,
I already said Patty Chayefsky. Come on.
that was his
agree.
idea.
Two?
Well, he took one of mine. Okay, one of my favorite screenwriters.
I'll say John Hughes, and then you can have Patty.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
There, do you want to go now?
No. Give us.
You
Come
sure?
on. You're
Yeah,
copping
sure.
out.
You okay with this?
He's wearing a scarf.
I'm
everybody.
kidding.
Hey,
Go ahead.
I'm cold.
Got a jacket.
At least we have good taste, Jeff. We both
Okay.
agree on something.
Preston Sturges is one of my favorites.
Very interesting.
Also. He was, I mean, for the most part, he directed all his own screenplays, but there are a lot of like lost classics that I love. Everybody knows Sullivan's Travels, but I like one called The Great McGinty, another one called The Palm Beach Story, which was a revelation for me when I first saw it because I am a huge fan of Screwball.
Yes.
Hey, hello.
Who's there?
What do you think of Richard LaGravenese?
I think I like him. What the hell did he do recently?
Oh shit!
Did he do The Fisher King? What happened?
Oh yes, he did. He did The Fisher King. He wrote The Ref. He did.
Freedom Writers.
Yes.
Oh shit!
He also did
Freedom
She's
Writers.
Living
Yes.
So Loud. The one with Holly Hunter, please.
Yeah, Living Out
Loud.
Fisher King's actually pretty good.
I like Fisher King quite a bit.
I like Fisher King.
I think he's a very good screenwriter. I think
He did something else recently.
I think The Ref is a very well-written movie with Kevin Spacey and
Oh yes, I love
Judy
that
Davis.
film.
I
love
never
that
saw
film.
that actually.
It's a very well-written film. In fact, it has
thought
a
it was
dig.
okay.
It has a dig actually at Gene Siskel because Gene Siskel actually hated the Fisher King. So they actually have J.K. Simmons play a character who called Siskel, who gets blackmailed by the son of Kevin Spacey for sex photos, which is a little dig at Gene Siskel.
And
Sounds
you-
like something Roland Emmerich.
Well, you know
would
I
pull out.
must like because Kevin Spacey's in, and I usually hate anything.
Yeah,
he's
I
in.
know that.
It's actually a very good performance because him and Judy Davis really have excellent chemistry and they're banging each other out.
I love Judy Davis. I love her in almost
Very
anything she
theatrical.
does.
And Dennis Leary is very good actually. He's very good because
Surprising.
he's a lot of fun to watch.
Well, when I saw the trailer, it looked like a Dennis Leary vehicle. That's why I kind of stayed away from it.
Oh no, it's really
It's more like
a
an
screenplay.
ensemble piece.
You know what it feels like? It feels like a black comedy that John Hughes would have done. Kind of feels like a little bit like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Only a
Little
lot
darker.
dirtier.
Yeah. I would definitely recommend checking that out. But yeah, Richard LaGravenese is a very good writer, and he's definitely a unique one, and I'll give him credits for
There's
that.
something else that he did that's driving me crazy what he wrote, because I remember reading that name recently, but it wasn't with any of the films that we had mentioned. So I
Well,
don't know.
you can call us back, caller, if you can remember his other films. We're just drawing a blank on him right now.
And hopefully the feedback
And
from
thank
the
you for your
speaker
call.
won't deafen us all.
Yes, and thank you for your call. But yeah, Jeff, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You were talking about.
We know the phone's working though.
Well,
Yes,
that's
good.
true.
Thank you,
yes,
caller.
yes.
No, the Palm Beach story, which I like that the beginning was actually the end of the love story and shows you what happens after, the two lovers run off and get married and see what their life is like. And I just really enjoyed the film. But that would probably be my favorite of all of his films. But, there's plenty of other ones. Was it The Miracle of Morgan Creek, which is about a woman who gets pregnant and can't remember who she got pregnant by. All she remembers was it was a sailor, and she basically blackmails her best friend into pretending he's the father, which I thought was pretty racy for 1940s, considering women were supposed to be so chaste back then.
That's amazing. They could get away with that with the production code back then.
Exactly.
I got to mention one writer because you just brought up about unknown babies and stuff. One of my favorite screenwriters. I don't think I gotta give him credit. He's not like perfect, but his ideas are some of the most original. He's not as good as a director, but as a writer, he's excellent. Larry Cohen.
I knew you were going to mention Larry Cohen.
He's a great writer.
I sort of, you know
I
what?
don't know if he's a great writer,
Oh,
but he
he's a
does
terrific writer.
get these like.
I see what you're
kitschy
saying, and I
ideas.
don't
Very
entirely
creative.
agree
I'll
with
give
you.
him
He's
Yeah.
very creative.
His ideas are highly original. He comes up with really creative ideas. His directing,
It's just
his
the
screenplays.
execution.
It's his
might
direction.
not
It's not the
always
greatest.
be, or hardly ever meets the idea.
I think his best film was God Told Me To. It's a
I
great film.
think the Larry Cohen's tragedy is that his ideas were too ambitious for their budgets.
Yeah.
You
Well, he was a
know?
low-budget filmmaker.
Yeah, and he was this guy that was trying to make these low-budget movies, because he had to make money, whatever. But you could tell that he had something real to say, and it somehow just wasn't, It's like Q, the Winged Serpent.
That's a terrific movie with one of the best performances I've ever seen in a B
Michael
movie.
Moriarty. I mean, we were talking about Michael Moriarty the other day. We're going to have another episode
very
on
strange
Masters of
actor.
Horror, and there's an
Very,
episode of
very,
Michael
very
Moriarty in
strange.
it. I can't figure out if I like him or not. I just think he's fascinating to watch.
He's just so. I love that famous story Sam Arkoff talks about. Where Joel Siegel, I believe, is at a Cannes Film Festival, and he goes, "Oh no, Rex Reed. It's Rex Reed." He goes, "What a wonderful method performance by Michael Moriarty in the middle of all that dreck." And Samuel Z. Arkoff goes, "The dreck was my idea." Are you familiar with that comment? It's a
Yeah,
very
I've read
famous
about
story.
that somewhere.
Well, Q is a terrific idea. I love the idea how it's really more about the small-time losers trying to cash in on this just success of a monster. That's really original take on the genre.
Oh, I mean, even It's Alive is sort of,
Brilliant.
and even his more obvious attempts, like The Stuff. He's making fun of
The
consumer
stuff is
culture.
actually a
and-
very
You
entertaining.
know what's so
film.
fast?
I like that.
The problem with the stuff, and it's the execution of the direction, is that he couldn't decide if he wanted to make it a dark comedy or a slapstick comedy or a social commentary. But it's a great idea about mass
And again,
consumption.
another really strange left field performance from Michael Moriarty. It's like, what the hell is he?
What's so funny is that I listened to the commentary track because I'm a huge Larry Cohen fan. His commentaries are phenomenal. He said Michael Moriarty came to him and goes, can we make him a Southerner? And let's do this and do this. He goes, okay, why not? And he said he just made up his whole character as his own and did it. And I was like, God, I miss performances like that, acting like that.
All right, Froggy. We're
Finally.
God told me to is a great
Go to
movie.
his.
No. Wow.
Before
I want
he
to talk
complains.
about one of my favorite screenwriters. I want to talk about
Gregor Rocky?
Mr. Charlie Kaufman. I love
Okay.
Charlie
I'll
Kaufman.
give you a card.
Yeah.
I love that guy. I find that what he did with Being John Malkovich brought such originality. The only problem with Charlie Kaufman is he had such, I don't know if he had box office success, but he had such critical success with things like that and Adaptation and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, that so many imitators came out of the woodwork. And
Human Nature. He did Human Nature as well.
Yeah, that was his only.
Was it Human Behavior or Nature? Oh, no,
Human
Human
Nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his only misstep. But I think that had more to do with Michel Gondry with that. But
Well, he suffers from what I call the Tarantino syndrome after Pulp Fiction. A lot of people who love Pulp Fiction began to hate it because of all the ripoffs that followed.
yeah, there was a lot. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
I'll give you an example. 2 Days in the Valley. Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. Destiny Turns on the Radio.
But even
Truth or
Tarantino was ripping off
Consequences.
Tarantino after a while.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and it's like
He's still ripping off himself.
it's
He's
you know,
death-proof.
it's interesting that
I
we were
agree.
bringing up. I mean, I know you want to talk
But
about
he's
Kaufman,
ripping himself off.
but Tarantino
Can you really do that?
was almost like a
He did
one
it.
He's repeating
hit
himself.
wonder, and it's like I'm really getting sick of the movie references and every character talking as if
Yeah, I'm
they
sorry, but a bunch of hot girls don't talk like Quentin Tarantino. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I've never encountered that.
It's like having a conversation with yourself.
We're talking
before
about
review.
Death Proof, people.
Death Proof, which, if you see it as Tarantino's latest
Yeah,
film,
sadly enough,
Awful.
we're doing a screenwriter show, and we got to mention that.
we have to
goofball,
because
but-
he's the most popular screenwriter of his generation. Look at it. Everything he touched turned to gold, even the stuff he didn't direct. True Romance, which actually I consider his best screenplay.
But it's not really his screenplay.
I mean, well, it's filmed, it's his screenplay, but they rearranged the way it's told.
Well,
yeah.
Roger Avery wrote
Yeah,
it
well,
changed
first.
it, he
that,
changed the
was
ending.
that was a part of the trilogy.
He
But you
changed
know
it.
what? In a weird kind of way, having though he's had mixed success with the final result, Roger Avery I think is a much stronger screenwriter. I thought Rules of Attraction was a really interesting film.
I think he's not a very good screenwriter.
Really?
I think his first film, Killing Zoe, is actually not a bad film. I don't think it's anything
like
original.
Killing Zoe.
I don't think it's anything original screen-wise.
But he's not attempting to do. He's not. At least he's trying to be different.
Did you see Mr. Stitch?
No, but I've seen Rules of Attraction. And even though I absolutely hated Silent Hill, there was something very original going on there. I don't know.
I
If it was the
liked
directors.
Silent Hill. I wanted to love it, but I liked it.
I don't credit that to
I don't
screenplay.
know. I couldn't figure out what the hell happened in the last third of the film. It just kind of lost me altogether. But at least it was something different.
It felt like an 11-year-old made it or something. It just
guys.
didn't
No,
feel
I
like
just felt it was too ambitious for its own good.
We have about 3 minutes left here.
Oh.
So,
God.
who would you say? Okay, let's just wrap this up. We talked about some of our favorite screenwriters. Who is the absolute worst screenwriter you think who's still getting work? I'm going to name him right now for me, and I think he's a piece of shit and he should quit. Fuck you. Sorry, Akiva Goldsman.
Oh, he's horrible.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
He
Pretty
is
bad.
horrible.
Sorry, I had to mention that, guys. I'm
Horrible,
sorry.
horrible.
I paid money 3
Akiva
times.
Goldsman,
Awful.
horrible.
The absolute worst screenwriter. I think he should be writing infomercials. That's how low I think he is. I mean, he is that bad. Batman and Robin is one of the worst
That's a
screenplays in the history of films. I'm sorry. I had no idea what the hell was happening in that movie. And
I
it's-
don't disagree.
it's so funny. It's about nothing, and I still wasn't able to follow it. Who else would you say is
Well,
somebody
he's
who loves-
sucking Ron Howard's dick, so that's probably why he gets.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay.
That's why he's getting so much.
We're all getting angry. Go ahead.
Well, he doesn't really work that much, but James V. Hart, who wrote Bram Stoker's Dracula and Frankenstein,
Yeah, I
he
agree.
was pretty bad.
Oh, you forgot the worst one though.
Which one?
Hook.
See, I didn't even know he wrote that.
That was
but,
where he got famous from. Was Hook.
well, he.
Shit.
For
that
me,
could
the
be
worst
added to
screenwriter of
his
all
worst.
time is what's his name, Brothers McMullen, dude.
Ed Burns.
Ed Burns.
How could I
man.
forget?
Talk about a guy who's.
We'd love to hate on Ed Burns, but
Oh.
man,
Edward Schaefer too is another one we got to mention.
Eric
Who
Schaefer.
sucks.
Eric Schaefer, yeah.
Oh, there's a guy who's so in love with himself. He should marry a mirror.
I'm not exactly too fond of Joe Esterhaus either.
You know what's so funny? I actually have a little respect for Joe Esterhaus because I read his book. He's actually not. He's a very entertaining writer in terms of his autobiography. Screenwriting.
His movies, though.
His movies are not the greatest. No, I will say though, I do
Fatal
enjoy.
Attraction, awful. Or
I-
no, I'm sorry.
I do enjoy Basic
Basic
Instinct.
Instinct.
Basic
I was gonna say
Instinct.
Fatal.
Jade.
But at least there's a sense with Esterhaus that he knows, he's like, yeah, I know this is crap. Whereas you get the other sense, like
can't believe
Akiva
this episode we didn't talk
Goldman
about Shane
type.
Black.
Well, we
we've
already
done
had
a
a
show
show
on
on him. He's a great. We always have people.
Or
okay.
Judd Apatow.
I will say this though, one thing we got to give Joe Esterhaus credit though. He demanded that he get paid a fair share because we were talking about the Writers Guild earlier, and he actually said these people are making millions off me. I should get more, and he did.
For a screenwriter, supposedly he had sex with Sharon Stone in her prime, so that ain't too bad.
Not bad
for
at all.
being an ugly bearded guy.
Well, anyway, we'll be doing another show on the 5th of December at 8 o'clock on Channel 67.
5th.
And we hope to see you next
Remember,
time. Until
we'll
next
see
time.
you on the 5th.
And hopefully my voice will be better.
See you on the 5th.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm not too big on him, are you?
Who?
Akiva Goldsman. Oh,
I
Christ.
hate his guts.
God, and he gets nominated for an Oscar, doesn't he?
He won an
He won.
Oscar.
How can you win an
I was
Oscar
going
for
to say,
that
what do you guys
track?
think of David Goyer? He sort
I
of
like-
did him.
Unfortunately, it looks like this strike is actually going to be a.
That's where the writers are coming from.
And from what I understand now, people are making like a 4% royalty on DVD sales.
Yep.
And I want to tell you guys something here because I know a little bit about business here. Have you guys noticed, like today when you see featurettes on DVDs, they're broken up into like 15-minute chapters? Mm-hmm. Have you seen that? Like before, you'd see like a 2-hour documentary. The reason they do that is to fuck the writers and talent. If it's over a certain length, they can claim it as a little mini featurette. They don't have to pay them the full royalty. So that's why the way they're getting around that is doing those little 15-minute chapters as a whole. So they're actually little features on their own. They're not a single feature.
And the writers have traditionally been screwed by Hollywood.
Oh, I agree.
In the first place, I mean, it's like the writers Guild. The Writers Guild really hasn't helped. I mean, you may have like 10 people writing a film, which is the way Hollywood likes to operate, because they can never be satisfied with one script. But only like maybe 3 of the people involved are allowed to get the credit recovered from.
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
A lot of them had to write under aliases and then actually have other people submit their scripts under their name.
Really, the only people who are really going to suffer. Well, I mean, you're going to suffer by not having an income for a while. But I mean, the people who are going to suffer are like fans of shows. Like they just made an announcement that although they've already shot half the season of 24, they're not going to finish it until the strike is over because they don't want to show half a season and have people wait. That's right, 12. But sometimes they do a 2-hour episode, so it's not always 12, Mike, smarty pants.
And let's talk about the strike, who this is affecting. Of course, this is affecting TV shows, movies, and I even believe Broadway plays, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my God!
No.
That's a separate.
That's a
Seriously,
separate. That's
just-
another
no,
strike.
that's just
What's another
stage
strike?
hands.
The other strike is stage hands.
Yeah.
That look,
No.
there, it's a problem. That's all I'll say. It's a problem.
Good thing Harvey Firestein. Or actually, is that your long one? Because of a dispute over money over the internet royalties, if I'm not mistaken. And from what I understand, they are nowhere close to the meeting of the minds here. So that means even if the strike does get off, is rectified in a few months, which if it is, there's still going to be a delay in movies and TV and everything.
But it's a legitimate strike.
I agree.
It's a major issue. You're dealing with digital rights management, and it's weird because there's no precedent for this. It's really hard to figure out how do you pay people where something is distributed in such an infinite way through the internet. But I mean, but the same thing is like you photograph something, you put it up on Flickr, and some advertising agency takes your photograph and they say, hey, we want to use your photograph in our ad campaign. And initially, you'd be flattered, you'd be sure, but then they're making millions of dollars off of your photograph, and you didn't get nothing. you'd be pretty pissed off.
Oh, of course, I agree with the writers.
So that's on
oh, I
screen,
agree.
You know?
I think screenwriters are the lifeblood of Hollywood. But on the opposite end, have I told you guys how much I hate jazz musicians?
Yeah.
Can they actually hear that?
I hope to
Can
God.
the microphone
Everybody,
pick up what's going on?
everybody, in case you can hear in the background, some sound bleeding. That is a band next
we
door. It's very
don't have
loud.
like
We got a house
elevator
band
music playing in the
tonight,
background.
folks.
There's a house band playing next door, so in the other studio.
Well, so if you hear it, that's what it is. But anyway, yeah, I'm disappointed in this strike. I think it's going to be a real long time, and I think a lot of people are going to suffer in the long end, forever. I mean, really, I think a lot of people who had their projects lined up to go are going to lose them.
But come on, let's be honest. It's a strike, and it's not a blacklisting. I mean,
No,
No,
I
no.
don't mean it's a blacklisting. I mean that people
the
have their
black- the
projects ready to
black-
go.
The blacklisting is when a lot of screenwriters really suffered. A lot of directors.
A lot of writers never